Just looking at your wood wall here, all your nice cordwood stacked all perfectly.
So we're restacking it. We help people to learn about firewood and things like that. And I don't know, maybe we're not clear enough in directions, but we've had some people stack some wood and they would do them as short as 9 inches and as long as 20 inches. And that just doesn't stack well.
Yeah.
And so we're pulling some of those stacks out, and any of the pieces that are too short, we are chopping them up and burning them now.
Uh-huh.
And any of the pieces that are too long, we'll recut.
Excellent.
And then we're restacking.
Cool.
So hopefully it'll look nice when we're done.
Very nice. Cool. Well, I saw you have this little stick over here to measure. I thought that was nice.
That's
Measuring, and I can just take a piece of wood off and measure it, lay it up against here.
that's too long.
Oh, it's too long, just barely, but that's enough to
That's
make the
just
stack
enough.
hard to
Plus, if you do this,
stack.
here, stand this straight up. Take that piece of wood, and if you stand it straight up, now
Oh, no, it's way too long. It's almost half an inch too long.
So you gotta
Yeah.
keep in mind that there's a little bit of slopey slope on that.
Put that in the long wood pile. Oh, this guy, he makes the cut.
Good. I think you can stack it.
Oh, how will I get up there? You gotta be pretty tall.
You want me to do it? You got it?
Oh, I take it all the way up there. Excellent. One thing I love about these wood racks is the cats love to hang out in that spot right up above it. They sit up on top of the wood and have a nice dry, cozy spot. And then when it snows, there's snow all over the ground, but under the wood rack, the cats have a way to run along.
So those rocks that are down there,
Uh-huh.
that's to keep the cats from pooping there.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, this is such a great cat box right here.
Wait a minute.
Thanks for giving me a nice place in the winter to poop. And then we put the rocks in there, so then they started to poop like right here. And if you look closely, you'll see, like, oh, over there, you can really see it. We put down a whole bunch of red pepper flakes.
Huh, and that works?
And then they're like, I don't want to poop here. This place has been ruined.
That's a great idea.
And then they don't poop there anymore.
Excellent. So you've got this wall and it protects the building, so you wouldn't have to, paint, and you probably need less insulation,
Well,
maybe?
okay. See how that building's painted. So this building is designed to be painted every few years.
Mm-hmm.
So a few years ago, we painted it. And then at the same time, the guy with the paintbrush, he said, you want me to paint this building now? And it didn't have all this wood here. And I said, you know what? I want to do an experiment. I want to do a whole different aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
I really love the look of cordwood homes, but the air kind of blows through unless you build them the hard way, which takes like 4 times longer.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I had this idea of like, what if I just make wood racks here? And then in a way, you kind of have the beauty of the cordwood home, which is very beautiful.
Uh-huh.
But you don't have the wind blowing through.
Yeah.
This structure was here when we bought the property. It's just got T111 siding.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, the paint isn't doing good, but it's just T111 siding. It's basically moderately shaped plywood.
Uh-huh.
And so I kind of feel like it can now be the thing that we butt the firewood up against, and no one will see it.
Yeah.
Well, except when we have to fill it.
Uh-huh.
See, so there you can kind of see the T111 siding.
Yeah. But you don't have to protect this wall with paint because you're protecting it with firewood.
Yes. Or I think another thing is to be aesthetically pleasing. I think that the white paint on the T111, I suppose some people might find that aesthetically pleasing. I'm not one of them.
It's not as pretty as cordwood.
And I kind of got the idea a little bit. I was at a site where somebody foolishly asked me to give them advice.
Uh-huh.
And they had some buildings that were white and kind of like this. And I said, what can you do to make it look like wood, like untreated wood, like beautiful wood. And so we had a conversation. I didn't suggest this, but later I'm looking at my own building and I'm thinking, this came to mind. And I think this is terrific.
It's a great idea. I really love it.
I wish I'd have thought of it sooner.
And if you lived in a windy place, then all your wood would be getting extra dry.
Now,
instead of your house getting beat up.
Each one of these has been sized very precisely.
Okay.
To be one face cord.
One face cord. Excellent.
And it takes 3 face cords to make a cord. So this is 1 cord of firewood. Well, I hope to be able to heat all of the Fisher-Price house with just 1 face cord someday. And we're doing improvements to the building and to the rocket mass heater in there, so we can get it down to just 1 face cord. But a few years ago, we heated it on a very cold winter with 2 face cords. It was a little less than 2 face cords.
Wow. But so for your regular sized house, really awesome house, 2 face cords.
It's a pretty humble little double wide.
And even without all the optimization that you have now, you made it through the year easily, through the winter, cold winter in Montana, on 2/3 of a cord.
That was a few years ago. We didn't have any kind of curtain on the windows. We there were all kinds of things about the building that weren't particularly well insulated, and lots and lots and lots of things. And now that rocket mass heater in there is now 10 years old, and we have all these ideas for optimizations that I want to try. And so if we can do optimizations that normal people do, like window quilts on the windows.
And your window quilts are so beautiful. They're so nice.
And if we could do an enclosed front porch, and you know, a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think we could do it with half the wood that we did that few winters ago. I think you know, and it's important to say, and Mud chastises me about this all the time. He says, you know, you could say, if you were to say, that I heat my home with less than half the wood of a conventional wood stove, that would be true.
Yes.
And it would probably lead to 10 times more buy-in for rocket mass heaters. But I'm an engineer, and it heats with 1/10 the wood. So I say that, and people are like, "That's crazy talk."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's true."
Well, come out and check it out. See how much wood you can get through that rocket mass heater in a day. You can't burn that much wood in it if you try.
The wood feed's pretty small.
Yeah. You'd be standing there all day and have to wear a tank top and take all your clothes off. It's so hot in there.
So I don't know. People like to get it up to 78 or 80 because why not? It's like, oh, just add a couple more little sticks and then it's so much warmer.
Yeah.
And then it does drop off. You know, it drops off like 5 degrees in 4 or 5 hours when you shut it down.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the next morning. It holds that temperature pretty well till the next morning, even though it's below freezing outside.
Excellent.
So I like this so much, but of course it only looks handsome when it's full.
Yes.
And when it's doing it correctly, which is the right size of wood.
Yes.
And when it's got a bunch of short pieces and a bunch of long pieces, you can't stack it very high before it wants to fall out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't feel okay with that. So I'm taking it out.
Excellent.
And then it'll set a good precedent.
Perfect. Yay.
Instead of having a boring wall, have you ever tried having a wood wall? Pretty cool, huh?